Big episode reminding us how delicate that timeline is, plus a big reveal about a Flash character. And you know what? Patty finally figured it out. Good for her. Let's chat about it on Flash Chat. Hey everyone, it's me, Jess, and welcome to Flash Chat. Big episode last night. They keep getting bigger, and I have some fantastic guests to talk about it with me today. We have Garrett Tichy, Jennifer Bennett, and Dylan Smith. So Garrett, tell us what you've been up to. I've heard something about Charlotte Agenda Live series.
Yeah, big announcement last week that I'm partnering with Charlotte Agenda to produce a new live speaker series event for the next 10 months.
So what are some of the speakers you're going to have?
So the first one's revealed. It's Tom Hanchett, retired Levine Museum historian, talking about segregation in Charlotte and how we actually, as we stand now, got so segregated in our neighborhoods. So
interesting.
Super interesting.
So where can you find information, and when is the first one going to be?
First one's February 18th at Southside on Montford. Information, charlotteagenda.com.
charlotteagenda.com. Go there and learn about it. Jennifer Bennett of Handmade Stuffs, and we just saw you last week on Wilson's World, and you're back with your Captain Gold. Tell us about your handmade stuffs.
These are my little guys. They are made from an original pattern, and I make them all myself at my studio here in Charlotte.
Ooh, her studio is located near Jess's apartment. This I know.
That's dangerous.
It's dangerous. I want to come over and just hang out. These are amazing, and she does a lot of the different characters. And will you be at Minicon this weekend?
I will be at Minicon.
So if you want to grab up one of these cutie patooties, little handmade stuffs, go to Minicon, bring some cash dollars, and holla at Jennifer Bennett with her handmade stuff. I'll be there. Street Team will be there. And this is Dylan Smith, and he's my new little buddy we just met today. And tell us about BlackSmith Soul.
Well, I'm a video producer and an audio producer, music producer, and in college I had a radio show, and it was on Sunday. And so I decided to, my name's Dylan Smith, so I decided to have a show or a stage name that had my last name in it, or had a part of my name, so it was BlackSmith Sundays.
Yeah, I don't know where I got soul in there. I just feel like I want to keep saying
That's my Twitter name.
That's what it is. Okay, I was like, why am I saying that? BlackSmith Sundays. So where can we find you if we want to listen to that?
I have a SoundCloud page, soundcloud.com/BlackSmith and you follow me on Twitter at BlackSmith Soul and Instagram at BlackSmith Sundays.
All right, we gotta check it out. Maybe you should make like a Flash theme song for me. That would be amazing.
That would be kind of cool.
That would be kind of cool. I'll get the wheels turning. Okay, so this episode we saw last night, huge episode. I like that you're wearing yellow because our fellow in yellow was back. And man, I missed him. I love Reverse Flash. But let's talk about the biggest, and sorry to our production crew who hasn't watched it yet, biggest reveal of the night, Hunter Zolomon, Jay Garrett. So we've learned in the Flash, there's two Earths, right? And everybody has a doppelganger. Where is Jay's? And poor Jay, he's trying to find his doppelganger so that he can repair whatever illness is ailing him. But he couldn't find his name, and he figured out it's a guy with a different name, and that different name on Earth 1 is Hunter Zolomon, which if you follow, like, I think it's the Mark Waid run, and no, it's the Jeff Johns run. Jeff Johns introduced Hunter Zolomon as Zoom in the comic books. Holy smokes. So, man, okay, that makes me think. We have all these theories about who Zoom is. I asked a lot of people on Twitter last night, who is your theory now that we have revealed that Jay Garrett on Earth 1 is Hunter Zolomon, which is Zoom in the comic books? They had a lot to say on Twitter. Some of our followers said things like, my best guess, Zoom is Joe West, so they're still not convinced that it's Jay Garrett Earth 1. Still think it's Henry Allen. Our production friend Nick Nart thinks it's himself. That was cute. You know, some people do think it is Jay. One Flash TV Talk says the ghost of Eobard Thawne, which that would be kind of cool. There's so many different theories on what it could be. Kathy Beaver says, I get that E2 Flash is E1 Hunter, so E1 Flash would be E2 Zoom. But I like my guess of Henry Allen much better. So a lot of people still going with Henry Allen. What did you guys think? I had all my guests write it down on a card what they thought Zoom would be. Garrett, what did you think?
Earth 2 Barry.
Earth 2 Barry. And why do you think that?
It feels like the least obvious thing.
Yeah.
You know, with Hunter coming in, it's just, and you know the way it's been written already, you're like, that's too easy. And we still just don't know a lot about Earth 2 Barry.
We don't, yeah. And no one has mentioned him.
Nope.
And it's kind of like awkward that no one has mentioned it. So that's a good theory. Jennifer, what did you think?
I said Hunter.
You said Hunter. Yeah, I know. See, but is that too easy? Is that too obvious?
And I know they don't stick to necessarily like comic book lore.
Yeah.
But it just seemed in the episode like they were setting something up with him.
It did.
Because the whole like, oh, we need to save Garrett. Oh, we can't find Garrett's doppelganger. Oh, here he is, and Garrett already found him. Like it just seemed a little convenient.
It was convenient. But that's the thing with the Flash. You never know if it's too convenient or if they kind of play into the fact that not everybody who watches the show reads the comic book. So maybe that is why they can throw it in. I don't know. For me, it seemed a little too easy. I think it'll be important in some way.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't know which way. Dylan, what did you think?
I gotta say, I gotta go with Hunter on this one.
We got 2 for Hunter.
Yeah,
two
I
for
gotta go
Hunter
with
Z. The Z man.
Odd man out.
You're that man out. So I think that's a good theory. I'm still wondering if it may be Eddie. Because that would be I can just think of the scene, the production of it. It would be cool if Zoom took off his mask and it's Rick Cosnett back as Eddie Thawne. That would be super cool. We have a really cool theory from one of she's a friend of a street teamer, Melissa, if you know Melissa. I will add that onto my Twitter because I forgot to put it in the show, but she has a really cool theory explainer. And I'm not gonna give it away. You gotta check my Twitter for that at JustWCCB. I was glad that the Reverse Flash was back though, but it did pose a lot of questions. It feels like he was only back for this episode, but why? Why him, why now? I know it was the origin story, and from what I understand, from what I was listening to on the podcast, is that even though Eddie killed himself, which should have erased Eobard Thawne, he was protected by the Speed Force at the time, in a speed bubble, if you will. And so, I don't know, I think that I hope that Eddie didn't die in vain. He very possibly could have died in vain, but I think this whole episode, as Wells' character was putting it, there's nothing you can do about Barry losing his mom. This was this was when he figured out who the Flash that he had wanted to be like was. What did you guys think about that? What did you think of just about the Reverse Flash coming in? It's such a confusing timeline.
I love when he's on because he's just so cocky and he's hilarious.
And he has mannerisms of Wells playing Eobard Thawne from last season. There's certain things he did that I was like, oh, it's so him. Do you think we're going to see him again?
I hope not.
You hope not?
At least in this kind of format where it felt insignificant. Like we just kind of ran in no pun intended, ran in a circle here where and it almost negated everything that's happened in a big way.
It's true. It's true. Do you think it was insignificant that he was on in this episode, or do you think it will play a bigger role?
It has to play a bigger role. I believe that he was there for a reason, and they sent him back to the future. He's gonna come back. I mean, he already came back once. He knows how, and he knows everything about the Flash of that time. So he's gonna come back.
Yeah, and you know, he's always going to be a part of. My favorite quote from Barry Allen from this episode was, where is it? I could throw him 3 centuries from now and he'll always be a part of me. So that was a really significant quote because, as Wells was explaining to Barry, there's nothing you can do. This will be the timeline. The timeline will always find a way to happen. Worst quote of the episode. What was your guys' opinion on that? I feel like we all know what it was. Do you know? You feeling me? Bye, Felicia. Cisco said
I cracked up with that.
It's over. Bye, Felicia. We were done with Bye, Felicia. Bye, Felicia, Cisco. Let's do Bye, Cisco from now on. It was a cool episode in that the Reverse Flash was back and his nemesis was back, but I kind of felt like he left us too soon.
I feel like he was there more for Barry's development as a character more than like plot.
That's a good point.
Because just the whole, like, you can't fix the timeline, there's nothing you can do to save your mom, and that he had to make that decision of, I have to let him go even though it's dangerous and I want to keep him because I have to save my friend.
Exactly.
I would also say Cisco's development too.
True.
And there was a weird, there was a weird moment where you see Earth 2 Wells kind of feel for Cisco.
Yeah.
Like,
Sketchy Wells was not so sketchy this episode.
He got emotional when Cisco started to disappear.
And some great acting. Man, I tell you, their acting is, I've always thought they were good actors on this show, but it's gotten even better. I think they're a stronger cast than Arrow. Sorry, Arrow. I love a lot of the Arrow actors, but they are. And you know, Wells, we forget, he isn't evil. He's just doing what he needs to do for the love of his daughter. Yeah. And this was kind of a good example of it, where you can tell he's not purely evil. He's not all about the demise of these people.
Just a little misanthropic.
Yeah, they kind of touched on him killing Turtle. And then where'd that go? Yeah. It was mentioned, and then, well, I guess they had bigger things to worry about, but Jay Garrett did allude to the fact that, you know, every time something goes wrong, Wells is here, which is interesting, and we know why that is.
I feel like Wells, no matter what kind of person he is, he's always going to have some evil motives.
He is.
And even when Cisco was going through the seizures and whatnot, part of me thought, you know, that was part of Wells's plan.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. He's still the puppeteer. Wells is always that puppeteer.
Yeah.
Kind of the ringleader of everything. And Cisco's vibe powers, Wells scaring the pants off him with the reverse flash suit. Yeah. So we figure out that it's like an adrenaline, kind of a fear that makes it, and I think that's what his vibe goggles do, is help induce that adrenaline to make him vibe. Do you think there will become a point where he's induced to vibe too much that it becomes detrimental to his health?
It may be, because just like constant hits of adrenaline and the
brain.
And it's just probably a very traumatic experience to be having to focus so hard.
Do you think we'll see any more well, I think we'll see more development, but do you think that Cisco and that power will become more of a superhero type entity by the end of the show? Like suiting up like Diggle on Arrow kind of thing?
I like it as a supporting role.
Me too, yeah.
It seems like the perfect balance right now, and also when you can see the future and like
do you need to put on a costume?
Yeah, do you overuse that at some point?
For some reason, I can't really see Cisco going out in the field with Barry.
Yeah,
I could maybe wear a costume. I don't know, maybe, but I don't see how his powers would be helpful when, you know, Barry's kind of fighting, unless he can see so far into the future where he can tell when the next punch is coming.
Yeah,
you know,
that would be intense.
Yeah.
Also, Barry can essentially, he can anticipate the punches because he is the Flash, and he's just super fast with all the thinking. So Cisco actually kind of revealed his powers to Eobard Thawne, and all the revealing that they all did was only helping Thawne's case.
Yeah, there was something weird about that moment where Cisco I felt that Cisco knew what he was doing by sharing this information.
Yeah, it was a little weird. It was almost too pointed, because what he was telling him was problematic, and it was almost too like, Cisco, you should know better than that. But he does kind of run at the mouth.
And I think he was just like, you know, so emotional about it, he wasn't thinking logically. This was the guy that, you know, tried to kill him.
Yeah.
And did kill him before they fixed it.
Yeah. Exactly. So, I like the little lines that they have too, where it's like, Wells will be like, it's fine, Barry, you just have to remember to jump through the space-time barrier. So like,
it's just a big deal.
Just do that, and it'll save the day. I know, it's so funny. So Patty Spivot is a character that we are not going to be seeing a whole lot more of. Probably we'll see her again. But how did you guys feel about this whole him having to let her go and lie to her, and then what she kind of found out at the end?
I feel like Barry kind of dropped the bomb on his relationship with Patty in this episode. I don't think he had to be the way he was being.
Yeah, he didn't have to.
And after she found out that he was the Flash, it's like he could have kind of admitted it at that point. That would have been a good time. And it seemed like this throughout the episode, she was looking for a reason to stay.
Mm-hmm. Was Barry looking for a reason to push her away, though? Do you think if he liked her enough?
He said, I don't want somebody else to be in danger and to get hurt because of me.
Exactly.
And even more reinforced by the whole, you can't save your mom. I think that really pushed him more, if something does happen, I can't fix it.
Yeah. Do you think he loves her enough, though? I mean, Iris we know Barry ends up with Iris at some point. All you West Allen, or was it the shippers? I don't know. West Allen shippers. Those. We know he ends up with her at some point. I kind of wonder if that was something necessary to do to kind of get her back out of the picture. I don't think anything's going to happen with Iris and Barry this season. They seem to be caught up in their stuff. But I don't feel like he loved Patty enough to keep her around. If he really loved her, he would have wanted to, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think he loved her so much he was willing to let her go.
Yeah.
I do. That was a sad moment.
Man,
That last scene,
the last scene was sad, but that one with that Chantal Van Sant and Patty, she plays Patty. That was incredible acting.
Yeah.
For TV acting, I mean, she did a really good job.
I felt really sorry for her.
I did
more
too.
Than Barry. I'm like, I was kind of shaking my head the whole episode. I was like, come on.
I know, you feel sorry for her, but then in a way, you're like, okay, go get yourself to safety, girl. Just leave this situation. They have a whole situation there they're dealing with. The West family. There wasn't as much development this episode with Wally, Iris, and the mother. You can tell that the relationship is growing. My theory on it is, like, yeah, I know that they're trying to just focus on the Zoom plot, but man, they are not really, they're kind of glazing over like this whole, hey, secret brother, your mom's dying. Like,
It just kind of came out of nowhere.
yeah.
Like, hey, guess what?
And it's like, what? It's fine.
I wasn't really into, it was hard for me to kind of get into that aspect of the episode because, you have all this other stuff going on.
Yes.
And then once, like in the hospital scene, once that hospital scene was over, it jumped right back to them looking for reverse flash. It's like, it kind of is hard to kind of stay into Iris's situation.
Yeah, and I know they have to do it for a TV show, but it almost seems like the characters are accepting this too easily. I mean, as a human, like if that happened to me, I would maybe take a few days off work, kind of,
And your friends would show up.
Yeah.
There's just a weird
And
gap
Barry
between.
and Wally haven't met yet, which is another thing. How do you project that Barry or Wally will get his powers? In the comic books, I believe, Wally's more a younger kid, and he comes to the to the office with Barry into the lab, and he has like a similar accident, which the chemicals give him the Speed Force. How do you think it'll happen in this show, or does he have it already?
That's a good point.
It's a good question.
I don't think he may have it already. I doubt it. I think they're gonna put that into the show. He's gonna get his power sooner or later into the show.
Yeah.
I think it'll have to be something where like either he instigates it, like I don't see an accident happening necessarily with the way the plot's going now.
Yeah.
There's him getting powers key to them all defeating Zoom.
That's what I kind of feel.
Yeah, like
With
they'll have to.
Garrett, Wally, everyone kind of teaming up.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it'll be something intentional one way or another.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how that is portrayed. Another character they have casted, we'll have our first female speedster. Trajectory has been casted. And I was doing my Wikipediaing, because I don't know who Trajectory is. But apparently she was created by like Lex Luthor. So there's always rumblings of Smallville crossover. People would love that. I think if they ever did that, it would be on the super stealth, and it would just pop up, like Tom Welling or somebody would pop up. Maybe this is a chance for that to happen, or maybe they just wanted a female speedster happening. But what are your thoughts on a female speedster? We haven't seen one yet.
That'd be awesome.
It would be cool. Some people think, somebody thought Nora Allen is possibly Zoom, which that would be
That would be awesome.
weird.
wild. That's a real left field theory, but why not? I've always said all along, it'd be cool if it was a female in like a kind of a man costume. Because it doesn't have to be a dude. She'd just be wearing like one of those suits
Like
you
a
get at
padded
Party
suit.
City. Yeah, yeah, padded suit. So that would be cool. Speaking of theories on Zoom, I did a Twitter poll, and the biggest theory, the winner currently is going to Earth 1 J. Hunter Zolman. The 52% of people think that. It's kind of close with everybody else kind of tied, thinking Earth 2 Eddie, Earth 2 Barry. We already talked about the other. So if you want to vote, you still have some time. Go to @JustJustWCCB on Twitter. Next week's episode is looking kind of cool. Jeff Johns apparently created this tar pit character as a kid and got it into the comics, and now it has it on TV show. So good for Jeff Johns. Good for him. The episode's looking pretty cool. Let's take a look at that trailer.
There's an attack in progress on 6th and Bell. That's my MetaHuman app.
Yeah.
Got the little ringtone on there.
He's basically drowning people in tar. Like a walking
Tar pit. Too slow.
Bring me the flashes, speed.
I wasn't fast enough.
The Flash, all new this Tuesday at 8.
Oh, he wasn't fast enough. What do you think's gonna happen with Iris there?
They can't kill her.
Nah.
So.
Yeah, she'll be all right.
She'll be all right. It's just a flesh wound. She'll be fine. She'll be okay.
I like the sticky situation.
I know. I liked that quote too. I like their kind of villains of the week. I like to see, what they come up with in the CG for all that. But I still, let's keep the plot rolling with Zoom, and I hope we see more of Mr. J. Garrett on Earth 1 Hunter. Mr. Hunter Z. Let's call him that, because I'm having a hard time saying Solomon.
He looked a little menacing.
He did. I wanted to see what book he was reading. I tried to zoom in and see, but I couldn't tell. But I hope it's something ridiculous.
Yeah, they're not going to introduce him for nothing. They're going to bring him back.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially since Jay took the time to find him and stalk his schedule and was like, you need to see this for yourself.
Also sitting really close. Like,
yes. If you looked up and you saw like you,
like,
that would be weird. So he's being a little risky there. But I'm hoping, I would love to see that Teddy Sears actor play kind of a crazy character, like a mean character. So I think he could do it. So I'm kind of hoping there's more with that, at least something else for him, because Mopey Jay is not my favorite thing in the world, even though I represent. But I like Jay. I like that he has such a good moral compass, but he's been boring me lately.
yeah.
So I think maybe this is his time to shine. I hope so. So the CW Street team, if you would like to shine in one of these awesome Flash shirts you see here, we're actually going to have some new ones and Legend shirts. What? We're going to be at the Charlotte Mini-Con this weekend. It's at Grady Cole Center. And like I said, you can find these handmade stuffs there along with a lot of other awesome vendors. It's actually where I met most of my Flash Chat guests last year, or at least a bunch of them. There's some fun cosplay. You can buy a lot of cool things and play Plinko for prizes. Make sure to tune in tonight to Arrow at 8 o'clock. And then also tomorrow, Legends is back, and I have seen that episode, part 2 of the pilot, and it ramps it up. So if you liked the premiere, you're gonna like episode 2 better. It really starts developing the plot, and it's a lot of fun, that show with the time traveling. Then The 100 comes back again for episode 2, season 3. It'll be on at 9 tomorrow night, and I love that show. Do we have any 100 watchers here?
I haven't watched it.
Not yet. You can watch seasons 1 and 2 on Netflix. There's only 26 episodes total, and then so 27, that's all you need to watch. You can do it. You can start now and be ready for tomorrow night at 9. Just go. Just no one else is doing anything else. But it's a great show. If you are into Hunger Games and maybe even Lost a little bit, you'll like The 100. So watch that. And this is all for Flash Chat today. Make sure to go Charlotte Agenda Live series, find Handmade Stuff, and at BlackSmith Soul. We can find you and listen to your tunes, and we're gonna get I want a theme song made. That would be awesome. All right, everyone, until next week, happy DC watching on the CW.